Hey folks, how's it going? The U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve has reached its lowest level since 1984. This is primarily due to the Biden administration releasing as much as 180 million barrels from the reserve under the pretense of lowering gas prices at the pump to make it less painful for Americans to fill up their gas tanks. What's not been said, at least by the majority of mainstream media, is that a large portion of that oil that was released from the reserve was also sold to China, and a large portion was also shipped to Europe to ease their gas and energy crisis due to the war in Ukraine. And again, as a result of of exporting that oil from our own reserves, we have reached the lowest level since 1984, and that's concerning. Now, Biden came out with this statement not too long ago about how he had brokered a deal for the U.S. Department of Energy to replenish the supply in the strategic reserve at a cost of about $70 per barrel. In February, the U.S. Department of Energy was supposed to purchase 3 million barrels, again at $70 a barrel. However, news just came out that there will be no purchase to replenish the supply in February because the U.S. Department has rejected all bids submitted by U.S. Oil refineries and producers. And they're citing this because of the quality of the oil and the price of the oil as well. Now, the current price of oil per gallon or per barrel is $73.73 as of today. I'm not sure exactly what the price of oil per barrel was at the time these bids were rejected or what the bids were. But again, the Department of Energy was supposed to replenish and purchase 3 million barrels, a small step towards replenishing the overall reserve. And they've rejected every single bid. As a result, there will be no oil purchased for the reserve for February. Now, I don't know if these purchases are going to be held on a month to month basis, if it's every 2 or 3 months or every 6 months. I'm not sure how that works, but it's concerning that uh, even at $73 a barrel, which is the standard price for oil per barrel right now, that makes it sound like they weren't willing to pay that much per barrel to replenish the supply. That is concerning because we are in a position where we're we have the potential for war with Russia, direct war with Russia, I should say, not just a proxy war through Ukraine. We're facing a potential war with China. We're also in the middle of winter where all of the holiday travel has pretty much come to an end. Travel in general is at its lowest levels right now, and come spring and summer, more people will be traveling then, so that's going to create more demand, which is going to jack up uh, gas and oil prices. Also, there's speculation that China could potentially invade Taiwan come March or April due to weather conditions being favorable at that time of the year in the strait. Now, I'm not an expert on uh, weather conditions in the strait. I'm not an expert on all that stuff. And I can't say one way or the other whether that's when China will invade. A lot of people are speculating that's when they could potentially start an invasion. I find it concerning, though, that now when gas prices are lower than they have been for a while, and albeit considerably higher than they were before Biden took office, they're still lower than they were at the peak back in the summer when they hit almost $5 a gallon in some places. Right now, gas being at the lowest it is, oil being lower than it has been, I find it disturbing that the Department of Energy has rejected every single bid to replenish our strategic supply because of the price of oil. Uh, I wouldn't think that $3 a barrel would make that much of a difference. I understand over the long run it adds up, but when you're talking about a supply or reserves that are severely depleted, and by depleted, I don't mean necessarily critically low, but we are low. You would think that knowing that we are facing the potential for war with Russia and war with China, and the whole world is basically on a war footing, you would think the government would be uh, more motivated to replenish that reserve as fast as possible before there's any chance of us going into a conflict, a direct conflict, which would put more of a strain on supply. It would put more of a strain on not just oil but gas as well, because of all of the military movement that would have to take place. Most likely, it would result in uh, rationing here in the United States if we go to war with one, or even especially if we go to war with both countries. We will be facing rationing. We're, the talk has lessened over the past few weeks, but there is still talk of potential gas shortages, diesel shortages, oil shortages, and here we are not replenishing our reserves when we have the opportunity. Uh, Supposedly, but again, because of the cited reasons, the quality of the oil, which I can understand that to a degree because lower quality oil requires more inputs to refine it, but also because of the price of the oil per barrel. And we're only talking about what, $3 to $4 per barrel, where here lately it's been as much as $80 or $90 a barrel. It seems to me, even though it is above the target price, it's still close enough to be worth purchasing at that price. Maybe it's just me, but it seems uh, really disturbing that the U.S. is not taking this opportunity to replenish oil supplies. Because again, if we go into a conflict, we're going to need these supplies. We're going to need these reserves. It's going to become critical. You can't go into a war with either one country or more than one country with depleted reserves, or you're going to find yourself in serious trouble. Add to that, here in Georgia, we've been having lower gas prices due to a gas tax suspension by the governor. As of Tuesday, that gas tax suspension is supposed to lapse. Now, whether or not he renews it at the last minute, I don't know. He's done that before. I don't see how, even if he does renew it, I don't see how that can be an ongoing thing for too much longer because this gas tax suspension is being funded by a budget surplus from the previous year. So if that gas tax suspension does lapse on Tuesday, we're looking at an immediate price increase of about 31 cents per gallon for regular gas and about 33 to 35 cents per gallon for diesel. That's gonna hit people pretty hard. Um, and again, I don't know if his intention is to extend this gas tax suspension, but even if it is, how long can we maintain that suspension here in Georgia uh, with the budget surplus from last year? Eventually, that money is going to run out. So here's my thought: gas tax suspension here in Georgia. I don't know about other states, but here in Georgia, potentially about to lapse within the next 2 days. That will cause gas prices to go up at least 30 to 35 cents. We have our strategic reserve at the lowest level since 1984, and the Department of Energy has rejected every single bid for February to add even a small amount back to the reserve. We're potentially looking coming into spring and summer again as travel season begins. People start traveling for vacations and whatever. We're potentially looking at more strain on the system, more gas shortages, higher prices. So I think based on these factors, I think it's important that we prepare for the fact that gas prices will be going back up and possibly going up significantly, and may even be facing sporadic gas shortages in various areas, random areas. The number three pipeline on the east that transports oil, so far as I know, that pipeline is still down for unexpected repairs. It should be up in about a week or so, supposedly, based on what I read last. The oil refinery that shut down due to storm damage from the winter storm and fires, I believe that refinery has reopened. But again, once it's reopened, it's going to take that refinery time to build up and get back into speed. It's not like they can just immediately turn it on and start pumping however many barrels a day they were getting prior to the shutdown. It takes time to ramp these things back up. And in the meantime, we're dealing with the gaps or the loss of production in the meantime. So look for gas prices to go up, potentially significant increases in gas prices, potential sporadic gas shortages, oil shortages, and specifically if we end up going into war with Russia or war with China, uh, that will exacerbate the issue. That's going to aggravate the issue significantly, and we could be facing rationing of gas and oil here at home. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. It's something that I've been looking at. I hope you found this useful. Use this information to prep accordingly if you have the capability. Uh, Make sure you keep your gas tanks at full, or never let your gas tanks get below half a tank. That way, you always have a reserve. Um, and that goes for any time, not just when there's a fuel or gas shortage. If you have generators that you rely on for backup power, make sure you store some extra fuel for that generator. Make sure you do so safely. Research how to do that properly and safely, so that you don't endanger your own life doing so. There are ways to do it. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but that's pretty much what I wanted to cover. This is what one of the things that I'm looking at. There's so many things going on right now. It's hard to keep track of it all. And this is one thing that I'm looking at right now. So I hope you found this useful. I hope you found it helpful and it gives you some indication of what could potentially be coming and an idea of what you need to be looking at. Make sure you're shored up in that area. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. As always, I appreciate all the likes, shares, and comments. And folks, keep prepping. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves and your family. And until next time, I'll catch you later.